What up, though? Good morning and welcome to another episode of AM Opinionated. It's your man that goes by many names, monikers, and one appellation, but this morning call me Scrap. So here's where I'm at, right? Um, so Spotify. Here's where I'm at. Um, got a good show for you today. This is your first time tuning in to an episode of AM Opinionated. Welcome. If you've been rocking with the kid, welcome back. So this is where I'm gonna take y'all. Um, this morning I'm caffeinated. Got a pretty good show for you this morning, I hope. And I'm glad that people been rocking with me in the mornings. Those of y'all that's awake this early. But salute to everybody that's up and rocking. But if you have been searching for me, you can find me on YouTube, Notoriously Opinionated, on Spotify. Areas of Human Activity. Areas of Human Activity is still rocking, but it's the audio version now. It's going to be on Spotify. I do a new episode of Areas of Human Activity every Sunday. It'll be published late Sunday or early Monday morning. You can check it out. And it's normally different episodes than what's on Notoriously Opinionated. And then I'm gonna start putting like videos that I put together on YouTube. So it's not just live. I'll actually get to go back and edit. So whatever I mess up when it's live, I'm probably still gonna mess up when it's not live, but I'll get to edit it. Salute, my dude. What's up, Mar? Hey, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into it, man, because I got a couple things to get to. So my first opinion is really gonna lead into matter of fact, I'm gonna skip my first opinion because my first opinion is gonna be the main topic. So today I'm gonna talk about how racism is right in your face and how it's been put in your face, how white supremacy and racism is put right in your face, and you really don't even realize it. You don't even know it, you know. And those that do know it don't care enough about it to say and or do something about it. Like we was talking about on Wednesdays, Notoriously Opinionated. There's not enough civic engagement, you know what I'm saying, to do away with some of these racist undertones, and I'm a hippie to it. I started on it yesterday, which really sparked the idea of what I was going to talk about mainly today, and so I just went in on it. But damn, and actually today in human past, like everything I'm talking about today is going to lead into what I'm talking about. All right, so today in human past, that's why I had to hit this. So I do not own the rights to this music, but I'm gonna play it anyway. But any of y'all that knows the name Earl Simmons, aka DMX, today is DMX birthday, right? So this is DMX Earth Day, and so I want to salute X, right? So I'm gonna play some X the rest of the show, and because that's just hey man, X got me through a whole lot of days. He got me through a whole lot of workouts, you know, especially this joint. What types of game are being played? How's it going down? You know, so man, it's that damn shame what happened to X. Anyway, but yeah, so in 1970, Earl Simmons came to this earth, and and put some nice music together, man. Put some workout hits together. Got in some movies, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, man, it's a damn shame what happened to X. But also today in human past, the 13th Amendment was ratified. So today we had the 13th Amendment ratified. What was the 13th Amendment? The 13th Amendment was the amendment that supposedly freed the slaves. Well, it physically freed the African slaves, and then you have to look at the terminology of the 13th Amendment to see that you still wasn't free. You know, you were emancipated. You know, it emancipated the slaves. That's what the Emancipation Proclamation was. It was to liberate you. It wasn't to free you. So, and all it did was was allow that loophole to be created from being physically chained up in chattel slavery to go into a whole new form of slavery, which was and is mass incarceration. So instead of keeping you in chains and beating you all day and working for nothing, they put you in handcuffs and put you in prison and make you work for little. So you're not necessarily chattel slave in chattel slavery, but you are most definitely an indentured. You're not even indentured because you weren't there voluntarily. Yeah, real talk. Like it's a whole lot of things that that prison makes powerful. Like, you know, I don't know how many couches I made. You know what I'm saying? Like I made a whole bunch of couches. You know what I'm saying? I printed a whole bunch of shirts. I did a lot of things working in prison that created monsters in industries that I was not being paid properly for. But so the 13th Amendment was ratified on today in 1865. Also today, which leads into my main topic. Also today in human past, and you may not see the connection, but just rock with me. Today, South Carolina was declared independent. So today in 1858, 1859, South Carolina was declared independent. Now, here's where it comes into what I'm about to talk about, right? So there was this huge controversy over whether how can I put this? As to how to look at or whether there actually were black people who fought for the Confederacy, right? And so let me clear up any confusion. The answer is yes. And you have to look at kind of the psychology and the mentality of the black people who fought for the Confederacy. First off, you got to understand this. The thing about the blacks that fought for the Confederacy had their own government. They ceded from the United States. They had their own Congress, their own Senate, their own president, their own vice president, they own everything, right? And they had to steal because they implemented some of the things that were being done in the U.S. and in England. So with that being said, they had to create laws. They had to create things to see if everybody was in agreement with putting these slaves on the front line, because at first they were just being used as fodder, right? The slaves were being put on the front line to be shot so that while the other army soldiers are reloading their weapons, the white soldiers from the Confederacy can start shooting because all the bullets was used on the slaves that was on the front line. They was literally being put out there to be shot and killed to protect the white people behind them, right? The white Confederate soldiers that was behind them. Were they soldiers? Absolutely not. They were fodder. They were being used because they were the property of of masters, plantation owners in the Confederacy. Now, you had the Congress of the Confederacy that got together, and it required a whole bunch of people to agree that these slaves could fight for the Confederacy. What had to be done before these slaves could fight for the Confederacy, though? You got to free them. You got to give them, the plantation owners had to give the slaves their freedom before they could voluntarily or not fight for the Confederacy. And then once that was done, because they actually did pass a law that said that the slaves had to be, whatever slaves that fought for the army had to be free first. After that, or in combination with that, they had to decide, are we going to arm these Negroes? Are we really going to give these Negroes guns? These same slaves that we've had in slavery for hundreds of years, right? Are we about to give these people guns and expect them to actually shoot at the other side? Hell no. So it was a lot. That's why it took so long for them to come to these understandings, because they was like, man, we're not about to give these Negroes guns. We're not about what? Gun? Hold on. We're gonna give them guns and line them up next to or in front of or sometimes behind us? Are you nuts? If man, they better not have gave me no gun. I'd have been like, yes, boss. Go, yeah. Let me get the big gun, boss. Yep. Yep. I'd have been sniping their ass. They better not have gave me my man. Hey, what's up, Solo? Good morning, my dude. Man, they better not have gave me no gun. Talking about shoot at the people that's fighting for me and my family to be free, and you want me to fight for y'all that's enslaving us? Are you nuts? Anyway, so that being the case, there were black people that fought for, and there was really, like I said, you got to look at the psychology of it. There was black people that fought for and actually loved the South. These were called house niggas. That's what they were called, Exactly. Like he said in life, that's who they were, So Buddy and Django, Buddy that was in the house, yeah, that's him. He would have fought for the South proudly, because he was that we sick today, boss. How we feeling today, boss? He's one of them dudes. Let him give a brother like me a gun and see what would have happened. Man, look, however many bullets they gave me, that's how many people would have. Man, look, these are the people that when I talk about if the ancestor Harriet Tubman would have shot you, I can't mess with you. That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. All right, good luck, fam. Good luck, man. Appreciate you too, man. So that's what I'll be talking about now. What does that have to do with the things that people put in your face? Well, it all started with the illusion that the 13th Amendment, actually freed you. It did not. It gave you liberty. It gave you the freedom to have a right. That's all it did. It didn't give you freedom. It gave you the freedom to fight for your rights. And your rights can be infringed upon by the government at any time. Dig that. Right? So you got all these so-called founding fathers that came over here because they felt that King George was putting them into slavery, and actually came in here and literally physically put people into slavery. Ain't that a bitch? Anyway, so like I was saying yesterday about how one of my favorite childhood TV shows was The Dukes of Hazzard. I had no clue as a child how many racist undertones, like deep South racist undertones, was within that show. So let me go through a few of them. So number one, and I don't know if the Dukes you know, going before, you know, the lineage before David Duke, were actually all racist. I really don't know that, but I'm thinking now David Duke and how he didn't get his ideology from nowhere. You did, so it came from somewhere. So he may come from a lineage of white supremacists. He may come from a lineage of racists. And if you do not understand racism and white supremacy, what it is and how it functions, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you. Let me get into it now. So on this orange 69 Dodge Charger, you dig, which you let me tell it when I was a kid was the fastest car on the face of the planet. You know, the General Lee was the name of the car, right? The car, Bo and Luke Duke was not the star of the show. Daisy Duke was actually more a star of the show than Bo and Luke Duke. Didn't nobody give a damn about Bo and Luke Duke. The coolest thing they did was slide across the hood, jump into the window of the car. First time I tried that shit when I was a kid, my mama liked to kill me. My mama saw me trying to climb through the window of her car. She was like, "Boy, if you tried to kill me trying to climb into the window of the car." I was like, "Shoot, the boy and Luke did it." Like, boy, you ain't white and you ain't Boy and Luke Duke. They quit trying to climb through my window. Oh man. Anyway, so on the General Lee was a Confederate flag. What more do I need to say? The car is the star of the show, and the car is literally called the General Lee, who was fighting for the enslavement of black people and was sending men and women to their death to fight for this cause, right? And then you got the Confederate flag that was the battle flag, because that was the one with all 13 on them. That was the big stars and bars. That was the battle flag. You know what I'm saying? It had all of them on it. It didn't even just have the first ones that committed. It had all 13 southern states that committed to the South to fight for slavery. This was the flag on the General Lee. Now, what if, and nobody seemed to have a problem with it. Like nobody, like everybody thought it was cool for the General Lee to be like that. For the car, which is the star of the show, because everybody loved this car, jumped over whole rivers. You know what I'm saying? This car did spin outs and all this cool stuff that kids would find cool, right? That was done on purpose, you know? So you would have kids of all races, you know, loving the General Lee, you know, loving the Dukes of Hazzard, and seeing this Confederate flag and not having any idea that it was anything bad about it, right? Now, let me tweak the show a little bit, see if it changes anything. Same orange 69 Charger, right? But let's take the stars and bars off of it and put an SS symbol, right? And let's change the name of the General Lee and change the name from the General Lee to the Heimlich Himmler. How you think that show would have went off? Good morning, cousin. My cousin Ron Decay. How you think that show would have went off if instead of the General Lee being called the General Lee, and instead of the stars and bars of the Confederate flag being on there, what if it was an SS symbol and the car was called the Heimlich Himmler, the Heimlich Himmler? You think them Jews would have went for that? Hell no. Hell no, them Jews wouldn't went. Man, that show wouldn't have made it to the pilot. Guaranteed. The Dukes of Hazzard would not have made it to the pilot show if they would have submitted a script talking about the car is called the Heimlich Himmler, and it got an SS symbol on it. There is no way. If it would have had a pilot show, man, that show wouldn't have made it past the pilot. Believe that. But because it had a Confederate flag and because it had the name of a Confederate general, it was all good, you know. Look at another show, The Lone Ranger. You know what all right, so the Lone Ranger had this Indian dude with him named Tonto, right? You know what Tonto means? I'm gonna get to that in a minute. So Tonto would call the Lone Ranger Kimosabi, right? Yes, Kimosabi. Kimosabi this, Kimosabi that. Kimosabi actually comes from Kimosabi means like smart person, you know what I'm saying, or a man with wisdom. But it actually comes from it actually is Spanish. It's not even Native American, you know. It actually comes from Spanish, you know, El que más sabe. El que más sabe, right? He who is smart or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, English speakers, colonizers do what they always do. They mangle it and mush it all together, just like they did African words and phrases, and turn El K Masabi into Kimasabi. El Kimasabi or Kimasabi, right? So you had this that was you had this that where's my volume? So you had this that that meant somebody that's smart or somebody that knows a lot, you know, from the El Kemosabi and then Kimosabi, and then Tonto literally meant stupid. So they give the white dude, the Lone Ranger, who was a Texas Ranger, they give him the distinction of he who knows much, Kimosabi, and name the Native American dude stupid. That's not a coincidence. Then you had Knight Rider, right? And they think because they put a K in front of it and turned it into like a noble knight or so-called noble knight that it changed the meaning. Knight Rider was some dudes in hoods that would go out at night in the South and perform nocturnal acts of violence against blacks in the South. You know, that's all the Knight Riders were. That's what a Knight Rider is. Look it up. Look up. Just say into Google, what is a Knight Rider? What was a Knight Rider? You know, they still doing night rides now, right? So don't be confused with what you see. And this is another one. And even though I'm not necessarily going to call it racist, this is just how they use or how they used to use. They really did it in the 80s and 90s, but it's still being done today. But now it's being done. It's being done using. I'm gonna get into that later. But look at G.I. Joe. If you think G.I. Joe wasn't a recruitment tool, you tripping. If you think G.I. Joe was not a recruitment tool to recruit a whole new generation of soldiers to be a part of the U.S. Army or the U.S. Armed Services, you tripping. That's exactly what it was. You know, it made serving in the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines look cool. The same way the Dukes of Hazzard tried to make the General Lee cool to young people. All right. This has been another episode of Am Opinionated. I thank y'all for rocking with me this morning. Remember, support and patronize all small and black businesses. Buy black. Keep the black dollar in the black community more than 6 hours. It's been your man, you know, and I'm going to leave you with a mistake done more than twice. It's not a mistake. It's a decision. Make good choices. Catch up with me on, and I'm gonna put all my social media posts on here sometime when I got time to do it. But for right now, catch me on Spotify, Airs Human Activity. Catch me on YouTube, Notoriously Opinionated, and catch me right here every Monday through Friday. Next week we'll be starting at 8:30. We will be starting at 8:30 come next Monday. Catch me right here on AM Opinionated every morning at 8:30. And every Wednesday night with my co-host Negus Kafaru, aka Hero, and we're gonna be chopping it up with different guests on Notoriously Opinionated on Wednesday night. Remember, seize the moment. You might not make it through the whole day. It's been your man. Peace. I'm out.